feeding swine.
Undeterred by biblical disdain, the Reverend Jack Thicket, Vicar of Peasenhall and Rural Dean, sends his pigs to market. A Yorkshireman originally, Jack Thicket has become part of the local farming community. Being one of themselves, he's gained the largest congregation for miles around. He's also gained an unfair reputation as a poacher.
It was rather an unfortunate thing in a sense because this field of broad beans were coming up in the spring and the pheasants were pestering them, and I spent early morning for a week down looking after them, and I didn't shoot a pheasant. I shot across the field when they came on and they went off. But on the Saturday morning I was late. I overslept and I had a service in church at 8:30. And I just nipped down to the field first and saw a pheasant on the beans and shot over the fence and unfortunately killed it. Picked it up and put it in my car and took the service in the church. When I came out, the policeman was waiting at the car, said, accused me of shooting the pheasant. I'd been reported.
Victor Johnson has been more fortunate in the 88 years of a long life frankly dedicated to poaching. As some are addicted to the bottle, Victor cheerfully admits his addiction to the gun. He was never caught. On the other side of the woods, Lloyd Barker, the gamekeeper.
Very similar to a policeman's job, I should say, but more risky. Everybody that's on poaching job are not particular what they do if you run up against them. If it's possible, they'll run to clear themselves, but if you're too close and they think they're in danger, just as least bang you on top of the head as look at you.
What's a bowser? I say he can't resist that bear. I say I can't resist the poaching, you see.
Because then the keeper's watched as much as the poachers. Because I have been looking out for poachers going out in the evenings, and I've seen them go to the pub windows and look through between the curtains and the frame of the window to see if I was in there.
Gamekeepers, you know, they help themselves, you know. I know a gamekeeper. When my brother lived in it, my brother hired a farm, and Ned Blanc, man, had been a gamekeeper. He made his fortune at that.
If you are a keeper, don't matter what you have been, but when you're a keeper, you've got to be honest, because you can't have pheasants and your job, and that's how I found it. I didn't think of killing them myself, and I could honestly say, in the 18 years I was a keeper, I never had 18 pheasants, not one a year. Didn't average one a year.
Some are all right. But as long as they help themselves, of course they do.
And when I did have one, was one that I'd taken with the others, and perhaps something had bit its head off or something, and the boss would say, well, that's no good, we can't sell that. You better take it home and give it to the dog. And if it weren't too bad, I used to, well, cook it up or have it cooked up for the family.
The Second World War made little immediate impact on Peasenhall. A passing German bomber on its way back to the Reich unloaded a landmine close to the church. The tower's still not fit for the bells to be rung. It was after the war that the changes really started. Bigger machines needed wider fields. The Suffolk landscape, unaltered for centuries, began to lose its hedges and trees. It also began to lose its labourers, hundreds every year. The new agricultural revolution brought to Peasenhall a new type of farmer. Christopher Green returns from a board meeting of his company, which runs 7 farms in the area, 1,000 acres in all, £250,000 in land value alone. Farmers like Green are more concerned with the climate of the national economy than with the local hazards of wind and weather.
This is one of the great difficulties about farming today, that for one reason or another, which are reasonably well known, the price of land has shot up. £300 or £400 an acre now is current. and it's very difficult to earn a profit on that sort of investment in land, especially with barley at the present level of prices. I mean, a cereal crop may take 18 months before you turn over all of the money you put out. The logical development of this in our case was to seek a quicker turnover crop, and we eventually ended up with broiler chickens. And